Hello, my loves. Welcome into this video for the new moon in Scorpio solar eclipse. I'm so excited to get started here on this journey. First things first, if you are new, hi, welcome in. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you here. I do have a tutorial video, how to get the most out of these readings with my tips and tricks and how to engage with this material and your spiritual support team as we receive this guidance. You can watch that video if you feel called, if it feels supportive. It's not necessary, but it is there for you if it feels good to you. For those who are not new, hello, y'all. How are you? It's good to have you back here. Thank you so much for being here. As you hopefully already know, it is a pleasure to be offering this service to you, this guidance, this self-understanding through astrology, this connecting with our spiritual support team, our inner knowing through the spiritual sacred tools of the cards. And it's an honor and a joy, and I am so lit up by this Scorpio solar eclipse, and I'm excited to jump in and talk about it. So first, let's talk about new moon energy. New moons always represent for us new beginnings. New cycles are starting. The cycle that's starting is always under the theme of the sign that it's in, and it relates to the house that this energy is happening for us. We'll get more in depth with that house energies in just a moment. So the energy that this new moon is happening in is in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is a fixed sign, which means that it is an unchanging energy. It's also a water sign, which represents the emotional realm. So essentially, the Scorpion energy is fixed water, unchanging emotions. That's this energy of the Scorpion archetype. Now, the Scorpion is the totem of the Scorpio energy, and it represents this deep dive into deep knowledge, into deep knowing, that relentless search for truth, diving deep into the core of who we are, why we're here, and really understanding that on a deep, deep level. The Scorpion energy also has this energy of flying high, like an eagle or like a phoenix, because it has this transformative nature. The Scorpio season happens during All Hallows Eve, which is when the veil is the thinnest between our world and the other side, and it represents this death and rebirth energy. So if you didn't watch the readings for the solar season in Scorpio, where we dive into where Scorpio is occurring in your own chart and you learn more about how to embody that energy and we get guidance from our support team, I recommend you check out that video after these videos if that feels good and right to you. Now, let's talk about eclipse energy. So the normal lunar phase, lunar cycle is 28 days. From one new moon to another, or one full moon to the next. Eclipse energies last us for 6 months. So this is a new beginning that we're going to see unfold and experience unfolding over the course of 6 months. This eclipse is referencing the lunar eclipse when the moon was full in Scorpio 6 months earlier on May 16th. So this energy here is a culmination of 6 months prior. I did a reading for that eclipse, and I will be reviewing the information that came through from that reading at the end of the videos. So this cycle is going to go from October 25th, which is when this eclipse happens, at 6:49 in the morning, that's Eastern time. And this energy, like I said, is going to be potent for 6 months. So it's going to last until May 5th, 23, which is going to be another lunar eclipse in Scorpio. More time to focus on this energy and utilize these powerful eclipse portals to move us forward in our personal goals and in our collective goals. Now, before we dive deep into this energy, into this information that's coming through here, I want to take a moment to talk about a cycle that's much, much larger that I haven't really talked about before this moment. So we are in a cycle called the Great Year. And some of you may have heard of this through the age of Aquarius. We're moving out of the age of Pisces and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. The Great Year actually goes backwards in the zodiac. So the energy of Aquarius is humanitarian focused. So overarching all of the work that we're doing right now is this energy of supporting humanity, supporting the collective, becoming a united, collaborative species. That's the overall theme of all of this energy and all of this work that we are doing on individual levels. It's permeating out into the collective. So this Scorpio new moon solar eclipse wanted me to connect with you and show you the power of prayer. So it doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs are. You could call this an affirmation. You could call this an intention. You could call this a prayer, a meditation. The word that you use to describe what we're going to do here in just a moment is up to you to determine. And you can work with your spiritual support team in ways that feel good and right for you. But what I was receiving was that this powerful solar eclipse is a moment for us to make a wish, to start something new. And I'm inviting all of us watching these videos to take a moment and to set aside our personal goals, our personal life, whatever's going on an individual basis, and set a prayer, set an intention for humanity with this solar eclipse. My prayer, my intention is that our entire human family wake up to the truth of our collaborative, loving, and selfless natures. This is actually something that I've been learning about scientifically. It is proven, and there is an explanation for why we as a species have been so angry, alienated, competitive, and egocentric, despite our natural desires to be cooperative, to be loving, and to act in service of the whole. So this is my intention and my prayer. I'm going to read what's called the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I invite you to say this prayer with me and hold this intention for our human collective. Again, holding the intention that we all wake up to the truth within us, to our own natures of being collaborative, cooperative, and loving towards our human family as a whole. Here's the prayer. Father, mother, child, as one, if I, my family, relatives, and ancestors have offended you, your family, your relatives, and ancestors, in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions, from the beginning of creation to the present, we ask your forgiveness. Let's cleanse, purify, release, cut all the negative memories, blocks, energies, and vibrations. Let's transmute these unwanted energies into pure light. And it is said, it is done, and set free. Thank you all for joining me in this collective intention and prayer. I don't normally do this in my videos, but I was really guided to do this. Another reason I think I'm guided to do this is because, as I mentioned, the Scorpio energy is the thinning of the veil. This is the time for us to connect to our ancestors, the ones who did all of this work to get us where we are so that we could wake up to the beautiful freedom and truth of what it is to be a human living in cooperation with other humans on this earth. This is what the age of Aquarius promises us. And each phase that we go through is helping us to move closer and closer to this reality, bringing it into form. So back to the readings. How do you know which reading is for you? Well, you are going to have two readings. you're going to first watch the interpretation for where the moon was when you were born. So if you don't know your birth chart information, this is the time for you to watch my tutorial video on how to find your birth chart information on astro.com. You go to that site, enter in your birth data. If you don't know your birth time, please don't stop there. I have a tutorial video linked in that video that'll tell you how to find your birth time so that you can access this all-powerful information of the vibration that was in play the moment you took your first breath in this life. So you're going to watch the interpretation for where the moon was when you were born, and you're also going to check in to see what house this current eclipse is happening for you. So how do you find that out? I'll explain that in the video, so if you don't know, watch that video too. But you're going to look for where Scorpio, symbolized by the M with the little pointy tail, occurs at 2 degrees exactly in 2 degrees, okay? And whatever house that's in, you're going to also watch the video for the house reading. Now, of course, you can skip through the introduction once you've watched it once, and you can skip through where it says house interpretation. Watch the card reading and then scroll ahead. Okay, I do timestamps on these videos to help you guys scroll through the information that you don't need or that is repeat, and help you to get the most out of this information and not waste any of your time. Okay? If after watching the tutorial video you have questions on how to find this information and what video is right for you, please feel free to reach out. So if you feel called to support me for this information, for this guidance, for the way that it supports you, you can do that in so many ways. You can like, you can comment, you can engage with this material, which helps get me out to more people. You can share this with anyone you think would find it interesting and valuable. And of course, you can support me in my services. I have a weekly chakra meditation service on WhatsApp. It's only $14.40 a month. You can go to devotedandvulnerable.com/services to sign up for that. I also offer chart readings on that website at that same address, so you can go there. And if you just feel called to offer me a financial contribution out of the goodness of your heart and it feels aligned to you, you can do that at paypal.me/devotedvulnerable. Link is in the description. So we are going to be getting guidance from the Angel Therapy deck by Doreen Virtue, and we are ready to dive into what our spiritual support team wants us to know about the new beginnings we are starting in the next 6 months. So this reading is for you if the moon was in Sagittarius when you were born, and or if this 2 degrees of Scorpio new moon solar eclipse is occurring in your 9th house. So if you haven't already, taken a few deep breaths, called in your spiritual support team, and opened your heart to receive the guidance most aligned for you at this time, I invite you to do that. Pause the video if you need more time. Here's your card. Wow. I just need you guys to know that it's 11:11 as I'm recording this, because this card says, you are powerfully clairvoyant. Trust what you see in your mind's eye as well as with your physical sight, for your spiritual vision helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. 11:11 is like an angel number. It's like confirmation from your spiritual support team. So I just needed to let you guys know that. I looked down and I was like, oh, okay, it's 11:11. Wow. I'm going to jump into what this means for the moon energies, and if you're here for the house alignment, scroll ahead. So if you're already familiar with what the moon in Sagittarius is, you can scroll ahead to the interpretation. We're going to do a little review here. So the moon represents our emotions in our astrological story, and the sign that it's in represents how our emotions express. So your emotions express themselves through the Sagittarian archetype. Sagittarius is a mutable zodiac sign, which means that it occurs during a transition between seasons. So in the northern hemisphere, that's the transition between fall to winter. And it represents fire. Spirituality is the realm that the Sagittarian archetype rules. So the archetype of the Sagittarian is the centaur, the archer. It's shooting this bow and arrow, and I always thought it was just shooting it at whatever it desires, but I read somewhere recently that it's aiming at truth. Yes, love it. So you may find that your emotions are independent, dreamer-like, that you are emotionally likable, that you're emotionally optimistic, and you're intellectual. How does this relate to your powerfully clairvoyant? Wow, my beautiful Sagittarian moons. You have an ability to tap into the spiritual realm. This is your emotions. Your emotions are in a spiritual sign. And it says to trust what you see in your mind's eye as well with your physical sight. So things that you're seeing in here, like just visions that pop in, and also things that you see physically, like symbols that you see or synchronicities that you see, they are so important. They're guiding you. And it says that it's helping you heal, teach, and receive guidance. So this would be a time for the next 6 months to work with this energy. One way that I love working with clairvoyance, which is clear sight. So we are talking about the things that we can see in our mind's eyes and we can see in the physical world, is to ask for signs from my support team. Usually the way that I do is I just say, please show me a butterfly was the first thing that I saw. So I just say whatever the first thing I see is, if, and then whatever the condition is, or to affirm whatever it is. If you are really looking for support and guidance, you ask to be shown it 3 times. And then you just wait. You go about your day. You kind of try to forget about it. And then when you see that sign, that's guidance for you. That's clarity for you. Play with this for the new moon solar eclipse phase. So for the next 6 months, because this is a gift that you have and it's going to help you heal. It's going to help you teach. It's going to help you be guided to what it is that you're here to do, how it is that you're here to contribute to the whole and the collective under the age of Aquarius, and how you can best serve yourself and your own personal goals, especially when it comes to your emotions. I'm trying to think if there's anything more here for you guys. Dreams are also really important. So if you see things in your dream, maybe keep a dream journal by your bed to write down what you're dreaming at night, because there may be symbols that you're seeing at night. I'm like getting super confirmation that that's true for you guys. Doing third eye meditations, definitely aligned for you to help open this third eye, to help activate your inner sight. And let me know if you have questions. I'm really excited to see how this plays out for you guys. You are powerfully clairvoyant. It is guiding you. You're being invited to trust it. You're being invited to dive deeper into it, even if it makes you feel weird. Collectively, energetically, we are moving into a more psychic space. The veil is thinning. And so we are going to be able to, at a collective level, see, hear, feel, know things deeper. I've been getting a lot of cognizance, which is like just knowing that's coming through, like that I haven't had before, like simple things, but like I'll text a friend, I'm like, oh, this person doesn't have my number anymore, and then I get a text back from them being like, who is this? I don't have your number anymore. I just had a knowing that comes through. But like for you, in a clairvoyant way, you might have like sent that text and seen that text come back. Like, I don't have your number. Like, you might have seen it in your mind's eye. And then it happens, right? So that's like the difference between just knowing something and seeing something. Okay? Yeah. The area of your life that this clairvoyance is going to be most activated is going to be wherever this 2 degrees of Scorpio occurs for you, whatever house. So definitely go look at that advice and guidance and add this powerful clairvoyant energy to whatever other guidance was coming through for that house, okay? Until then, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste. All right, 9th house solar eclipsers. I'm going to talk about the house energy first, and then we're going to relate it back to this card. The house always represents where in our astrological story something's happening. So this is where the solar eclipse is happening in your chart. So this is where in your life you're going to be receiving the most power, the most newness, the energy of this eclipse is occurring for you. So, 9th house is a house of spirituality. It's house of higher education, ideology, travel, philosophy, and a second partner. So this is where in your life you're going to see this powerful clairvoyance being relevant. Of course, it makes sense to me that the house of spirituality is where your spiritual sight is being called into focus. For the next 6 months, my beautiful 9th house eclipsers, you're going to be experiencing an activation in this area of your life. Now, this is something that a lot of us have suppressed our psychic qualities because we haven't been able to understand it. We don't see it in our outer world. We're taught to suppress it. And there's many different clairs, which means clear, really. So there's clairvoyance, which is what this card is, which means clear sight. Okay. There's also clairaudience, which means clear hearing, which is where you hear things. Clairsentience, which means you feel it. And claircognizance, which means you just know without knowing how you know. So on a collective level, we are opening up to more psychic energies being accessible by the collective. So this is something that is impacting you as well. So how do you work with this sight? My favorite way to work with what I'm seeing in my outer world is to ask my guides to send me signs. So usually I have to ask for in relationship to something. So if it's aligned for me to take this job, or if it's aligned for me to read this book, or I don't know, whatever important life question you want to ask at the time. You say, if it's aligned for me to XYZ, please show me and then whatever the first thing I see in my mind is. The first thing I saw was a cactus. And I was embarrassed to say it, so I was waiting for something else to show. But cactus was the first thing I saw. So you just say that, and then you just go about your life. You kind of forget that you asked for that. And then when that cactus shows up in a hilarious, random, definitely not random way, you're going to know that that's your clairvoyance activating. That's your guide speaking to you. I've played with this so many times in my life. I have so many funny stories about this. It's really, really awesome. Reach out to me. Let me know what you experience over the next 6 months with this game, because it's really cool. It's really fun. I always tell the story about, and it won't always be like this, so don't get discouraged, but my friend was asking whether it was aligned for her to stay with her partner or not. And she said, show me a white bird if it is aligned, and show me a red bird if it's not aligned. And her partner sent her an article of a rare red-white bird. So the bird was half white and half red. And it was just so funny because the answer was yes and no, right? It was aligned for her to stay, it was aligned for her to go. But it's really funny how this can happen. And if it's really something important for you, like a big, big, big thing, you might want to ask to be shown 3 times, right? Once might not be enough for you. And I have a very powerful story about when I was shown something 3 times. I asked to be shown mountains. And days went by and no mountains, and I let it go. And then I saw mountains on a bookshelf where I was working, and then I was driving to a place where I was going to give guided meditation, and I heard on the radio a song about mountains. And then I guided a meditation, and after the meditation I had a girl come up to me and said that she had a vision during the meditation of me standing on a mountain saying I am free. And I knew that was my sign. It was the 3rd time I'd seen mountains. It was all the same day. And I just was like, thank you for that message. I have to go. And I just left and to take action on the message that I was waiting for. So very, very powerful. This is what it means when pay attention to the things you're seeing in your outer world. It's these signs, these symbols, and what you're seeing in your head too. If you just close your eyes and you have a vision of somebody knocking on your door, right? That's clairvoyance. That's what this is talking about. Someone's going to knock on your door. For me, I've had claircognizance really turning on for me lately. I sent a text message to a friend, and I was just like, this person doesn't have my phone number anymore. And I just knew it. I didn't know how I knew it. I just had maybe it was clairsentience. I just had a feeling. I'm like, I had a feeling they don't have my number anymore. Well, hours later, they text me, oh, I got a new phone. Who is this? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I called that. So it's those kinds of things. So like in that example, your clairvoyance would have been like you see a text message of like, who's this? Like just pop up in your mind's eye. You just like see a text message, who's this, in your mind's eye. And that would be how that knowing would come through for you in a clairvoyant way. Okay, does all this make sense? Let me know. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if this is resonating. Let me know how this plays out for you. I love this game. I love teaching people this game. Have fun playing with it. Remember your emotional advice too and how this relates to the house of spirituality. It may be that you're being guided emotionally to activate that guidance and wisdom that came through your clairvoyance, and or it may be that your emotions are just really active in the spiritual realm, and whatever advice was there for you in your emotional, for whatever moon sign you had, it's also pinging your house of spirituality. Okay? Oh, no, we're not done yet. We got a review. Okay, so 6 months ago, I did a reading for the lunar eclipse in the full moon in Scorpio. And for the 9th house, the energy that came through was working with crystals, saying that you are connected to the energy of the earth and you can utilize crystals to activate healing and to receive guidance and knowledge from the crystal realm. And you also got the Knight of Air. The Knights are, they like go on quests, and air represents like the mental world. So it was like a mental quest that you were going on, a search for knowledge. So this energy, when I did that reading 6 months ago, I said that the energy was relevant for a year because we're going to have a repeat of these eclipses in May 2023. So this is new advice adding on to this with this 6-month cycle, which is overarching this year-long cycle for the energy of crystals and Knight of Air for you. So if you want to go and watch that reading, it should be popping up now for you to go take a look at. Now I am complete. As always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.